what's up, guys? This is Check After Check. I'm with Dean, and today we have a special guest, actually, my sister. This is Cherie Jones. We definitely want to talk to her and kind of get into an idea of what she's into lately, and kind of go from there. But first, give us a little bit of background story on you, and then basically get everybody up to speed, and we kind of get into what we're talking about today.
Sure. So Cherie Jones. The name of my company is Legacy Team Associates. So I am a small business and commercial financing broker. So I provide funding, typically alternative funding for small businesses, as well as commercial lending for real estate investors. But I also can help with buying or selling a business as well. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I want it to be a one-stop shop for either business owners or real estate investors, just knowing that there was a gap in the market there relating to people who wanted funding, mm-hmm. and making sure that they had access to funding, because we know that within the first 5 years most businesses fail because of lack of access to capital. So mm-hmm. I wanted to solve that niche.
Awesome. I mean, is it a situation where you've always been into it, or how did you necessarily get to where you are right now?
Well, actually, I used to over 20 years I was in healthcare sales and consulting, and in 2017 I did my last job, and I said, never again mm-hmm. am I going to allow someone else to control my destiny. Yeah. For some reason, I'd get into corporate America and get these bosses that were intimidated by me for no given reason. And so I told myself that day that I would never work for anyone else again. Mm-hmm. So I thought I was going to get back into healthcare consulting. However, the tides turned, and I ended up working with a guy who had a franchise business for financing. Okay. And I was just, helping him out, sending him leads initially. But then I really enjoyed it, and knowing that I could help small business owners, knowing that I could help real estate investors, a lot of which look like us, mm-hmm. to be able to get the alternative financing that they needed. I thought, hey, this is perfect, because I have a heart to do that, and I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit myself, and to figure that I could help folks mm-hmm. like me to get funding that they need to either start a business or to grow their business. I figured this would be exactly what I wanted to do.
Awesome. Is it a situation, because it's funny, you had mentioned a couple of things. You were saying that someone else having control over your destiny and things like that, and I know we've talked about it on this channel a lot. When you're in a situation where you put in all the work, but if someone doesn't like you, or mm-hmm. somebody doesn't gel right or anything like that, they control whether you get the promotion, the raise, the award or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And being in that situation, can definitely be frustrating.
Yes.
Now moving on, you said right now you're in the business funding and things like that. Explain what business funding is. Explain, because a lot of people think that, if I want to start business, I have money, mm-hmm. Things like that. Explain exactly what goes into that, or how does someone, obtain it.
Okay. So starting out, let's say you're a business startup. People know that.
But what do you need to start a business? Let's talk.
Well, to start a business, you need to, one, register with the state that you're in. Mm-hmm. You need to check the website, the Secretary of State website, and just verify whether the name that you want to name your business is available. Mm-hmm. Once you know that's available, then you have to figure out, okay, what type of business do you want to set up? Do you want it to just be a sole proprietorship? Do you want it to be an LLC, S Corp? Whatever.
So different types of businesses.
There's different types of ways to set it up, and there's different tax implications for each one. Mm-hmm. So you probably want to talk to a CPA or even an attorney mm-hmm. In your given state, and kind of let them know what you're looking to do, and just give them the opportunity to share with you what's the best way to set that up. Mm-hmm. Once you set that up, what most people think is, okay, now I have a business, I can just go to the bank and get a loan. Right. No, that's not how it works. So typically, if you're just starting out and you don't have any history of business at all, it's pretty challenging to get startup funding, especially if you try to go through the SBA and things like that. They have programs that are available.
SBA being the Small
Business Administration. Okay. But in order to do that, there's a lot of different hoops and hurdles that you have to jump over in order to do that. So what a lot of people do is come to someone like me who can provide alternative financing, which means they can leverage your personal credit and allow you to use, if you've got a good payment history, if you got a credit score of 680 or higher, as long as you don't have any lates on your credit for the last 2 years, no bankruptcies, foreclosures, anything like that, they can give you what we call unsecured financing. So that would allow you to establish yourself as a business and then get unsecured financing, which then can leverage you to build business credit for your business. So that's one way to do it, but there's several other things that you would need to do. There's several different companies that you can actually work with in order to build business credit. You want to get your Duns and Bradstreet number.
And that's basically like the credit score of
yes,
business.
the credit score of your business, because what happens is a lot of people get loans or do different things, whether they're in real estate or business, but they're using their personal credit. So then when they go to try to get something personally, whether they want to buy a house, they want to buy a car, their debt to income ratio is too high.
Right.
And so they end up getting declined. So what you want to do is you want to leverage your personal credit to actually get business credit and then continue to build that business credit. So eventually you can use your EIN to go to the bank of your choice and be able to get the loan that you want.
So once you're established and things like that, then it kind of opens up for you.
Yes.
But before that, a lot of people, I don't think, kind of understand the difference between the business credit and personal credit.
Understanding the difference and then also being able to qualify. Right. Because if you've never built up your business credit, it's non-existent. So when a lender goes and they use your EIN and they pull your credit, they're not going to see anything, and so you don't have a history for them to look at, and so you're going to get declined.
Okay. So I mean that kind of reminds me of being in the dealership, and you got the young kids that come in trying to get a car, but they don't have anything as far as credit. So it kind of works the same way with the business side too.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's pretty important for people to understand that you do a lot of things. I mean, a lot of people buy cars and a lot of houses and things like that through businesses. So it's always just a good way to think about it. And with the business side, it seems like they don't quite hit you as much towards your debt to income ratio.
No, it doesn't count the type of loans that are going to only report on your business credit and not affect you personally unless you default.
Okay.
But eventually, so essentially when you start out, when you're building your business credit, you're going to have to be the personal guarantor. So if something happens and you default on the loan, they are going to come after you personally.
So like being a co-signer for the business.
Right.
Same.
But eventually, as you build the business credit, your EIN number will be the only thing that they look at along with your business credit score. And as long as you're doing everything on that side of the house, then if you default, it only goes under the business.
Gotcha.
And so it doesn't affect you personally.
And the EIN number is like your business social security.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay. And we break things down for the audience, so it's kind of like
absolutely.
I know some of this stuff already, but it's awesome. So basically, you help people. You kind of work like a middleman to kind of connect people with a lot of business, funding opportunities they might not know about, and then also these other businesses they get another shot at. Pretty much helping out these first people that are just starting out and things like that. That's kind of like your main focus and anything like that. As far as it, I mean, what challenges are you seeing? With the pandemic going on and everything like that. Like, what challenges are you seeing in terms of people that are trying to get in, maybe they're not necessarily getting approved? Like, what would you say before you come to me, like, get this in order type situation?
Well, I do offer a myriad of services. So let's say you've lost your job during COVID-19, and then we don't know what they're doing with these stimulus packages. We don't know what they're doing with unemployment. And so you say, you know what, I've decided that I no longer want anyone to have control of my destiny ever again. I'm going to start my own business. Where do I start? So you want to first look at your personal credit and make sure that your personal credit is in order. If for some reason it's not, because maybe you haven't been getting a paycheck and that sort of thing, we can definitely assist with personal credit services, so we can help you with that. But basically, you want to have your personal credit in order.
I believe you said like 680. With no
680 is optimal to get the unsecured financing. Optimally, you want to be over 700 if you can, but at least you want to have that 680, and you want to have, not a lot of outstanding debt when they look at the ratio of your income to your debt. So if you don't have a position, that could be a challenge. If they don't see any way that they can verify that you're going to pay that loan back. I've seen some folks that struggle that way. And so one of the ways that we've been able to work and say, you set up the business, one person has excellent credit, and then they're going to actually go on the loan starting out. And then after a year, then you can actually buy that person out so that they can, go on and do what they need to do. So essentially, they're allowing you to get what you need, which is the unsecured financing to start your business. And then a year from now, then you can actually buy them out.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So basically, even if everything's not in the room perfect, there's still ways that you can kind of hook people up and kind of help them out.
Yeah, there's different ways that we can always try to finagle things. Now, I've got some people that come to me and they don't have any cash reserves, they don't have any retirement, they don't have anything, and then they don't have good credit, it's not much we can do with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do have at least someone who does have credit and you have a business that you've already set up, then there's things that we can do to make sure that we try to get you the financing that you need.
Okay. I mean, obviously your job is helping out a lot of businesses, and helping out a lot of the people just starting out. Why don't you walk me through just your own personal experience with the entrepreneurship and everything like that we talk about on this channel? Like, how's the journey just doing this whole thing been?
Well, I will tell you, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right,
that's
right.
for sure. Once you have a made-up mind, though, that you're not going to let anything stand in your way, you have to have that grit, able to just decide, I'm going to go out on my own, because he would promise certain things and would never come through with them. He would say, "Oh, I'm going to provide you this type of training. I'm going to."
So
do
it's still
this.
kind of like that boss feel that you were
Yes,
saying before,
absolutely. Right? But he wanted me to do all of the work that he wanted me to do, dealing with all the clients and that sort of thing, but not really giving me the promises that he made on the back end of what was going to be in it for me, so to speak. So the thing that I can say, though, is I was able to take the training that I did get from the company itself. They had lots of videos, online tutorials, those types of things, and then also the hands-on experience of actually speaking with the clients. I learned the business myself.
Right.
And then because of that, because I was in the trenches and I knew it from the ground up, and I, bumped my head against the wall trying to get loans closed for people and trying to figure out what documents they needed, all these different things. Now I know it like the back of my hand.
Right.
So because of that, I know the potential pitfalls when I'm working with either a business when they need funding, or if I'm working with an investor and they need funding, so I can try to mitigate those risks and try to make things go as smooth as possible to ensure that they get from inception to actually closing the loan.
Do you think that working for somebody else helped you more so than if you had just started out on your own?
Well, it definitely helps you, because anytime that you're working with pain points, that helps you when you're struggling on the other side, when you're trying to, go into business for yourself. For instance, there would be days that I would have, $2 in my bank account, or 50 cents in my pocket, and maybe I would need gas, but I made it work because the pain of working for someone else that I saw the benefit was greater than the pain that I was experiencing, because I knew that if I kept going, that eventually it was gonna, I was gonna pop and I was gonna actually be successful. So you've got to have a made-up mind, and you got to know what your why is. If your why is big enough, then you can go through any hurdle and overcome it and be able to be successful.
Decided that you was going to head out on your own from the franchise company. So to take you through the first couple, months of just you starting up on your own, like how did that go?
So, I had built a relationship with a lot of the clients, because I was the one calling and they were calling me, and I was emailing them and this and that. So what I had to do was initially reach out to folks and say, hey, I'm no longer with the company. First of all, I decided that I was going to go out on my own, but before I got an opportunity to gather all of the information that I wanted, he shut down the customer relationship management tool that I was using. So I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many people that I can't contact. But, I had a core group that I had already moved over to my new email. So I just had to start with those. And I said, hey, I'm going to just reach out, let them know, hey, I'm no longer working for them. I'm doing this on my own. Come to me if you need anybody. Send me any type of referrals that you have. So that's the way that it started, and I was getting folks to come in, but it just seemed like nothing would close. I had all these opportunities that would come up.
Like to
get the loan funded.
Right.
So there was lots of people that would come and say, hey, I need funding for either, whether they were a business or whether they were an investor and they needed funds, but nothing was closing. But, so I just told myself, don't give up. It's a numbers game no matter what you're dealing with. And so you have to make sure that you keep going and you still give and provide excellent service, because no matter what you do, even if that one doesn't close, perhaps they can lead you to someone who will.
Yeah.
And so that's what I had to keep doing. And it was funny because things had finally started to move forward. And then in March, I was supposed to close maybe 7 loans.
Oh, wow.
And then COVID-19 hit.
Wow.
So it was like, oh gosh, I had to, pretty much put those on pause. And what happened was, because of COVID-19, a lot of the lenders changed the parameters of what was needed to actually fund a loan. So a lot of folks just had to wait. They got a lot stricter with the guidelines, so a lot of people had to do different types of credit repair, and so it took months and months and months before I was able to get those same people back on track. And so now I've got four that are getting ready.
So
to
those
fund.
from like back then?
Those are from February, March timeframe that I finally was able to get up and running, and now going to be able to.
So basically, from March until here, you've just been kind of keeping your head above water.
Keeping my head above water, continuing to advertise, making sure I got my website and certain things set up, and to ensure that I was prepared for when things did come back online.
We kind of got up to speed of where everything is with how everything is with you right now. So we talked about kind of what you were looking for, or what most companies are looking for in terms of getting started with the personal credit and things like that. But I just wanted to get an idea, so some of the guys at home that maybe are interested in it can kind of have an idea what to expect. Because I know sometimes when I have people that never bought a car before, and they come in thinking they got no credit, thinking okay, I'm gonna take a $20,000 car and get it for $300, and it's just you tell them no, and now they're put off, but it's just who told you that? You know what I'm saying? So what can kind of guys expect? So you get everything going, what in terms of things, the documents that they need, what are they going to need in terms of when they come to you and kind of try to get the ball rolling?
Now let's just clarify, do you mean for the business funding, or do you mean for if you're a real estate investor and you're trying to...
Well, let's start with the business funding.
Okay.
And then we can kind of go over it.
Okay, so if you're trying to get an unsecured loan, then you're going to need a copy of your Social Security card, you're going to have a copy of your driver's license, you're going to need an up-to-date credit report. So you should already pull your own scores just to kind of get an idea of where you are. Sometimes there's a bit of a variance because we know that some lenders use different systems, but you want to at least have an idea. If you run your own tri-merge report, which is all three, and you look at the scores and you see that you're in the 500s, then you know we're close. So you need to, you know that you got to take a step back and work on that personal credit first.
I think a lot of times people are kind of scared to look at their credit because they feel like there's no hope. But I think that and even some of the things we've talked about, first it's looking at it, and then you realize, okay, what can I do to help? And then there's various things that even get you to that 600, but you got to look at it first.
Exactly. It's like trying to go on a trip. Well, let's not talk about GPS days, but let's talk about going back in the day when you try to go on a trip. You have to have a map. Oh, MapQuest. That's a good one. But you have to have a way to get there. So if you never do the step of running your credit, you don't know where you are. You don't know what steps you may need to take to get to where you want to go. Your end destination of actually getting the funding. So I always recommend, you should be running your own credit anyway annually through annual credit report, and just knowing what's on your report. That's the first thing. But then you also want to get your score. So a lot of times you get the reports.
It tells you what's on there.
It tells you what's on there, but it doesn't give you the score. So you want to do one of the things that I recommend to my clients is Credit Check Total. So it's a way that you can go through Experian and actually get all three of your credit scores and be able to see, a small version of what your reports look like, but then actually have those scores so that you have an idea of where you are. Now, one of the great tools that we have is what we call a credit simulator. So let's say you're at 650, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Should I open another card? Should I, close an account? Typically you don't want to close a good established account. But what should I do to get to 680? What should I do to get to 700? I've got a member of my team that can do a credit simulation to say, okay, if you add 2 trade lines, this will take you here. If you pay off your collections, this will take you here. So that you can exactly have the steps and then figure out what's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, and it's going to help you, expedite the process of getting that credit repaired.
Awesome. So after you got the credit where you need to be, and I'm coming to you. So basically, what am I going to need as far as documents that you're going to need? So
for the unsecured funding, you need to have your driver's license, you need to have your Social Security card, you need to have all of your business entity documents. So you need to have, let's just say you set up an LLC, your certificate of formation, you need to have your operating agreement, You need to have your EIN document that comes directly from the IRS, and then you need to have a certificate of good standing. They want to know that you're in good standing in the state in which you operate in.
Okay.
So once you have those, basically, and then you know that your credit is where it needs to be, my team will take that information and then go ahead and send it to the underwriters and then get an idea of how much you qualify for.
Gotcha.
So there's two different programs that you can go for. One is, you're going to pay on the back end based on however much unsecured funding we're able to get you. So there's a one-time fee is between 9 and 10% of whatever they get.
Right.
There's another option that allows you to pay a upfront fee, but then it allows you to get that first round of funding, and then they keep going back on your behalf to maximize your funding. So the first round you may get 30 to 50,000, but by the end of the year you could qualify for up to 250,000. So it's a great way to get unsecured funding, but to continue to go back to the lenders to keep improving your position to be able to get you more funding by the end of the year. And by the way, for those first 12 months, most of them are 0% interest. So it's a great way to get lump sums of money that you can either use to invest or you can use to actually start your business, whatever you want to do, at 0% interest.
Well, yeah, and that's good that you mentioned that. I think a lot of people don't realize that the difference between a lot of the consumer credit, which is like your cars and credit cards and things like that, versus your business credit. Most of the time, these lenders of these banks, they don't want you to fail.
Right.
So it's just like, it doesn't really help them out to sucking all the money out your business in the beginning before you start to actually make money versus, right from jump when you buy that car, it's like, okay, 6%, 7%, 8%, whatever,
Right.
just from the first day kind of
Right.
situation. So
Right.
that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So, you talked about the two programs and things like that and getting that unsecured amount, things like that. I guess people understand that it's different ways in terms of how you get the money. So, like say, with one with being the actual business credit cards and one that actually being like a loan, so you can actually pick. What would make someone pick one over the other?
Well, the business credit cards essentially allow you to, again, build that business credit on the bank side. So you definitely want to do that if you're trying to establish business credit. If you are a real estate investor and you're looking to maximize the amount of money you get, maybe you only qualify for $50,000 in business credit to start out, but then you need extra money to, let's say, do a deal that you're looking at right now. You may want to get a personal loan on top of the business credit so that you can say, you get $50,000 on the business side, $50,000 on the personal side. You do the deal, you flip the house, and then you pay off the personal because you want to continue to optimize that business credit and keep that going as long as you can, because after that first year of that 0%, you're going to get those from different lenders to get to the max amount. And at the end of that year, as long as you have been paying your payments on time, now they're going to come to you and try to increase your amounts. And so it allows you to continue to build, and then also have the lenders coming to you buying for your business.
Awesome. So basically, you can tailor make it to whatever the person comes to you and whatever they're trying to do.
Whatever their goals are. So that's the initial conversation is always, okay, what are you looking to accomplish? Based on what they're looking to accomplish, we come up with a solution that's going to get them to where they need to be with as little hurdles as possible. And sometimes you got to take a short-term benefit of a certain program, knowing that ultimately you're going to move to another program. So let me give you an example. I've got a guy, he's got a senior health care company. And he wanted funding. COVID hit him hard in the beginning, but then he started to see significant increases in his revenues. The problem is he can't go to the SBA because he hasn't been in business for 2 years. He couldn't qualify for unsecured because he had too much debt on certain sides. So the only thing that we can do at that particular time where he needed $30,000 was to do a revenue-based advance. So we were able to look at the amount of revenue that he made for the last 6 months and then take a percentage of that and give him a loan against his revenue.
Oh, wow.
The challenge with that is it's a great program short term. So it's only going to provide you financing for 4 to 7 months. And you're paying a significant amount for that money. It's not even a percentage rate because it's not for a year, so they call it a term. And so for him to borrow 30, he's going to end up having to pay like 47 back.
Oh, wow.
Significant amount.
By the end of the term.
By the end of the term. But if he pays his payments on time for at least 3 straight months, then he's establishing business credit, and that's going to allow him to, and then also on the flip side, he's paying off some things on his personal side. So that's going to allow him to be in a better position either to get unsecured or in March, he's going to be in business for 2 years, so we may be able to get him through the SBA loan as well. So it's all a matter of timing. It's all a matter of how long have you been in business. It's all a matter of what goals you're looking to accomplish. We have to take a look at all of that up front and then be able to devise a solution that's going to get you to where you want to go.
That's awesome. I think a lot of times when people think about loans and business loans and things like that, they go to a bank and they just hear no, and they think like, oh well,
there's nothing I can do.
Right, but it's just like, you know, when you have somebody that knows all these programs and things, you can kind of figure out how to maneuver and make it work. You know,
Absolutely.
because you know everybody out here is not rolling around with 800 credit and things like that,
right?
But they still making it happen. So,
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. You talked a little bit about the real estate side of it. I mean, how is there different programs for investors that's trying to get into the real estate side?
So usually investors will want to start, right? And let's say you have some money in your 401k and you're just like, oh, it's just sitting there getting me 8%. Well, we have programs where you can actually use your retirement to start a program, so we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times folks may not have a retirement. They want to get into real estate, but they don't have enough cash to do their first deal. So we can use some of the same programs, perhaps some of the unsecured financing to do that. But if they have some cash and they can get a deal done, then you know we can also help with the actual funding to do the deal. So if they want to flip a house, if they want to buy a house and hold it, we can help with those particular types of programs. And our funding amounts start at $25,000 and go all the way up to $500 million. So if you're looking to either do a single family or you want to buy a 100-unit multifamily property, we can help with those.
Oh, awesome. I mean, are these programs like the same type of qualifications as the business lending side? Or?
Well, it's a little bit different because they want to see, a lot of times with the lenders on the real estate side, they will do business with someone who doesn't have any experience, but at least if you have 1 or 2 under your belt where you've done real estate deals, it definitely helps you with your interest that you're going to pay the interest rate, mm-hmm. as well as how much you're going to have to come in with on a down payment. Okay. So it's a little bit different because you got to look at the actual property, the purchase price. You know, does it need any rehab? If it needs rehab, you know, what's the value going to be after you fix it up? So if you're doing a fix and flip type of program. So that's when numbers have to come into play where, you know, you have to know what the after repair value is going to be because the lender's only going to lend you up to 70% of that value, and that includes the purchase price and the rehab for the property. So there's different formulas that we look at based on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to buy a property, then you're going to have to come in with 20 or 25% down, mm-hmm. and then you're going to have closing costs and be able to pay for the loan. They want to see that amount in your account that you can pay for the loan for at least 6 months. So whether you're an investor, whether you're a business owner, we'd have to look at whatever you're looking to accomplish and then give you the program that's necessary to get you there.
Okay, awesome. So basically it's like you're saying, in terms of actually trying to get going, you know, you have that side, and then you also have the side for maybe those guys that have been working a job for a long time. They got money saved up, or they got maybe equity in their house or something like that, and it's just like, okay, how do I take this and make it into like something that's profitable for me? Right. Awesome. So we're going along, and we talked about starting up. We talked about what we should need and everything like that. So let's say you already got the business going, and maybe got to move. Maybe you're in a situation where you're getting out of the industry. You would tell me you have a program to where you kind of hook people up with actually buying and selling businesses that are already established?
Absolutely. So let's say we can use COVID-19 for example. You've tried, you got your PPP funding, you got your SBA loan, but they keep shutting you down because the numbers keep going up and you're just not able to sustain it, and you just decide, you know what, I've done this business for 20 years, I'm ready to retire, I want to sell my business. So I've got a program that can allow you to sell your business. We don't require that you do an exclusive listing agreement like some brokers do.
What's the exclusive?
Exclusive would mean that if you sign on with me, you can't do anything else, and even if you sell it on your own, I still get paid. Okay. We believe that we're good enough, and we've got over 306,000 buyers in our database, that if you sign a non-exclusive listing agreement with us, we're still going to do the work, and we only get paid if we actually sell your business. Okay. So, the fact that we've got such a extensive buyers list really helps. We pre-qualify the buyers before we bring them to you, so you can rest assured that no one's going to come knocking on your door if they're not qualified. Also, we are very confidential with everything. So no one's going to know your address or anything like that and know that you're selling unless they're qualified. And then they go through a sense of signing different documents to make sure that they're not going to go around and tell everyone that you're selling your business.
Okay.
You know, the last thing you want as a business owner is to know before you sell it, is to have your employees know that you're
Right,
selling,
right.
or, you know, some kind of way it gets
Or even your
disclosed.
competitors, I guess.
Anybody, because then all of a sudden somebody's got an advantage on you. Either your competitors can take your employees can decide to quit. All different things could happen if it gets out. So we understand that, you know, being confidential is very important, and being discreet, and then just making sure that we do everything we can to sell your business. So, you know, once we list, we have over 125 sites that your
That the business
business
be listed to.
that will be listed on. And then again, like I said, with that extensive buyers list, we can do a good job. So no matter what industry you're in, you know, we can definitely help as it relates to selling or relating to buying a business.
I mean, in your experience, like I know sometimes, you know, you might have clients. How would I know if I'm a business owner? How would I know how much my business even worth? Like,
So there's a valuation tool, and so what we do is we specialize in that also. So I'm partnering with a company that has done this for 20 years, and so we specialize in actually being able to provide a good valuation for your business. So let's just say you're like, okay, well, I don't want to sell today, but maybe I want to sell next year, but I want to at least get an idea of what I'm worth. We can come out and provide a free valuation for your business.
does it differ on like what type of business, or is every company kind of like you put, you know, the same formula together?
It depends on the business, because if you've got a business, let's say a liquor store, and you've got that liquor license, that makes a big difference compared to a restaurant who doesn't serve liquor. And then how much revenue they make, and then there's an equation that you have to do to calculate how much the business is actually worth.
So there's a couple of steps that, you know, it's not necessarily taking the number that you make and times it by a number and all this type of stuff. This kind of goes into like what you have to offer in the niche and all that stuff.
Absolutely. And then, you know, your lease, how many years do you have left on your lease? Those types of things make a difference in actually providing the valuation for your business.
Okay. Can you, just like with a house, can you take out a lien or something against your business? Like, do you offer anything like that? Like, let's say I need to raise some money, but, you know, I'm doing pretty well in terms of business. Can I get something that pulls against that? Or
Now, if you own the building
okay.
that you're actually in, then, you know, you definitely can refinance that and pull equity out.
Okay.
Just like similarly to what you would do in a home. The only thing is with a business, you can't do a HELOC. So the HELOC is a home equity line of credit. You can't do a line of credit, but you can actually refinance. And the rates are very low right now anyway, and then you can actually pull some cash out to help with your business.
Okay. Awesome. So you get that capital going. Awesome. So what's new? What's going on? You were telling me that, you know, you have, you know, some things coming down the pipeline. That a lot of people, you know, maybe they've heard some of these phrases before, business credit, things like that, but you said you had something new that you're working out, so tell me what's going on.
So I'm very excited because one of the things that that I've noticed, even, you know, being in business for 3 years and doing this, is that, again, you know, like I said in the beginning, businesses fail within 5 years because of lack of access to capital. But then when you go and you do look at those numbers for minority-owned businesses, the numbers are stellar. Because, you know, we may not necessarily have the network of folks that have the money to be able to get the things that we need to be able to raise capital for our business. So I'm now partnering with a company that can help you if you're looking to raise capital for your business. So the first step would be doing an evaluation of where you are today, and so you'd have to fill out a questionnaire so that we can kind of get an idea of where you are. But once they look at that, then you're able to say, okay, based on this, here's what we recommend that you do to get yourself in position. And then we provide a network of investors and other different entities that could allow you to actually raise capital for your business, whether you want to give up a piece of your equity, whether you want to just get in position to, you know, get a huge business loan, whatever you need to do to raise capital for your business. But even further, if you're a company that's looking to actually get listed on the very first minority-owned stock exchange, we can prepare you for that. So it's very exciting because when you look at the numbers, they're staggering. You know, how many minority-owned businesses have ever been listed on the NASDAQ? And I want to say it's been one.
Oh, wow.
Total. And so this is an opportunity, if you're a minority-owned business, to be able to be listed on a stock exchange and be able to raise money. And a staggering statistic is that 92% of jobs are created after the IPO.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a company and you're not able to raise capital, you're not ever able to get to the step of getting an IPO, how are you going to hire? You know, how are you going to grow? How are you going to continue with
And
the
IPO is
concept?
the initial public offering.
Initial public offering.
Right.
And
So
so
a
to be
lot
able
of
to
people,
raise
you know,
capital.
yeah, they look at the stock market, they think that they've been around forever, but they have an IPO just like just Microsoft has an IPO just like Airbnb.
Yeah,
like
Airbnb
right.
and what's the other one that
DoorDash.
just... Yeah, DoorDash. So the two that are new, and these are huge for
Right.
2020. If you're a minority-owned company, most of the time it's unheard of because
Right.
you just don't have the access
Right.
to be able to get in position to be listed on the stock exchange. So to now know that there's a company that's focusing solely on getting these type of businesses prepared is very exciting. I'm really excited to be a part of it.
What's the name of this stock exchange?
It's going to be called Dream Exchange. Dream, D-R-E-A-M.
Is it located in New York too, or?
So the company is actually located in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But they're going to be, helping businesses all across the country. So, we can definitely help if anybody's interested in getting in position, at least seeing where they are so that they can be provided a report card to know what they need to do to get in position.
Awesome. So they're pretty much going to walk you through like the checklist, everything you're going to need and everything like that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, I mean, that's something new for me. I'm definitely hearing it for the first time. Being able to actually. I mean, what you're saying is you literally have it to where you could take someone from an individual, start a business, and get it all the way to an exchange. I mean, that's kind of your one-stop shop.
Absolutely,
if you
absolutely. And I'm also part of a business called the Black Business Directory, which allows a lot of different companies to come together. So if you want to merge with a company and that sort of thing and grow, so that you can, actually acquire a government contract that you've never been able to qualify for before. So really just, the reason. Yeah, and the reason that I call myself Legacy Team is because I really want to establish the ability for companies that come and work with me to be able to create the legacy. It's not just about what you're doing today, but to be able to pass that legacy on to your family and create that generational wealth that we did not walk into. For me to be able to, take two pennies to rub together to start my business, I want to be able to pave the way so that my daughter and my son, I can give them my legacy when I leave here, and then they're in position to actually continue that. And that's what I want to do and provide for other companies across the globe.
Awesome. And that's kind of what this channel is about, just kind of getting that information out there for everybody that, maybe you necessarily didn't think about, maybe you didn't understand how easy it is or how hard it is, but, definitely when you check out the channel, we're trying to, inspire the hustle. Just get the people in this situation when that mind frame of, hey, look, just because you've been doing it this way, you don't have to keep doing it this way. And just like, the people that out there that are doing it, they started somewhere just like everybody else.
Right. And it's about passing on the knowledge, because I think a lot of times, unfortunately in our community, sometimes we're selfish. So we figure out how to do something, but we don't necessarily want to share it because we think, we don't want anybody else. There's enough out there for all of us. And if we really concentrate on helping each other and working together, then we can start to keep that dollar in the Black community versus continuing to, I think the statistic is the $1 stays in our community for a matter of 3 minutes.
It's low. I think I've heard it range from minutes to like maybe 4 hours to like a day, 3 days.
Which is, however you chop it up, it's not long.
Let's just say it's 3 days.
Right. It's horrible
right.
because, basically, when you think about Black Lives Matter and some of these other things, if we really learn how to keep our money in our own community, that's going to speak volumes. People are going to then take us seriously because in this country, nothing matters but green.
Oh, yeah.
So you can protest all you want on Washington and do all these things, but until we start to learn to work together and keep that dollar in our community, that's when we're going to be heard and things will change.
Oh, and I think, a lot of it is just lack of opportunity, meaning that, part of that dollar getting spent at the Black-owned businesses, they have to be Black-owned businesses. They have to be out there, they have to be, not there today and gone tomorrow. So, the more businesses that we have, the more opportunities that we have to keep that dollar.
Right. And then also providing them with access to capital so that they can come in and actually sustain themselves to be able to grow.
Through tough times, we can put that awesome. So I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate you definitely giving us some time and dropping a lot of knowledge on us. It's been very informative. Why don't you just tell us, just kind of sum up everything that you're into right now, and also tell everybody how they can contact you if they did have questions or, looking to start a business themselves.
Okay. Well, again, Cherie Jones with Legacy Team Associates. And either if you want to get funding for your business, you want to buy or sell a business, or you're a real estate investor needing capital, I can help you with all of that. If you're an established business looking to grow and you need capital to do that, I can do that as well. Or raising capital so that you can actually be in position to get on the minority-owned stock exchange, the very first one in this country. So I look forward to helping you. If anybody wants to reach me, you can actually email me at yourlegacyteam.now@gmail.com. yourlegacyteam.now@gmail.com. Or you can actually look me up on the website. I'm on my business website is yourlegacy.team. And you can book a call directly from the website and be able to have a free consultation where we can actually sit down with you and learn a little bit more about what your goals and what you're looking to try to accomplish and help you to do so. I look forward to doing that because I just have a heart to help folks in our community and beyond to really be able to establish businesses and grow and create that legacy for their families.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it kind of reminds me when I started getting into the stocks, and it was just once you realize how easy it is, you just want to tell everybody.
Yeah, and not everybody's ready to receive it.
Right,
That's the
right.
thing. And so once you realize that there's going to be people who are ready to receive what you have, you tell everybody,
Right.
and the ones that are ready to receive, you continue to work with them until they can develop.
You know, I remember one time we were doing an interview in Mo's, a couple of interviews back, and he told me something. He was saying, go to the ones that want your help, not the ones that need your help.
Right.
You know, and you kind of get down, you kind of figure out who was who
Mm-hmm.
when those people that actually get back to you. You know, those are people that really eager. Those are people you concentrate on. Because a lot of times, I feel like sometimes we'll get down when we're trying to express stuff and we're having such a good time, and it's just like, or we get told no, or this is a scam, or whatever like that. But you know, those people that do come back and end up actually getting help by, I think those are the ones we need to focus on.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes we want to share, right, with our family.
Right.
Because we're like, oh, I got to tell you, and I want you. But not everybody in your family is ready to do it. And then you've got certain people that are risk takers. So let us take the risk first, you and I. We take the risk, we pave the way, and then everybody else will look at us and go, man, you guys are really blowing it up. Well, how can I do what you're doing? But later on, hey, come on. I mean, the train has already left the station, but you can catch up eventually and join us. So.
Right, awesome. Well, guys, listen, let's check out Nadeem. Once again, we love Cherie Jones here, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. I'm gonna actually put a link to all the stuff that you talk about below, so you'll be able to actually click on it and contact her and things like that. So, it'll be great.
All right. Happy holidays, everyone.